Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really important. Understanding and maybe navigating depression through mindfulness. We're basing this on the mindful way through depression.
Mm-hmm. And it's something so many people grapple with, isn't it? That feeling of anxiety or just dissatisfaction, maybe even hopelessness, or just feeling completely drained.
Exactly, that sort of listlessness. And if you felt that, you probably know that feeling of just wanting to escape it somehow.
Absolutely. That instinct is so strong. And, you try things, you look for solutions, but often, like the book says, nothing seems to really help in the long run. It's frustrating.
It really is. So our kind of mission here today is to explore how mindfulness, as laid out in this book, offers a different kind of path.
Not a quick fix necessarily.
Well, not a quick fix, more like a way to free yourself from that, that downward pull of low mood and maybe find a more genuine happiness.
And it's interesting how this approach came about. The book mentions observations that while antidepressants can help manage depression.
Yeah, they can be really effective for some.
Right. But recurrence was common when people stopped. So that led researchers to explore other approaches like these mindfulness practices.
Which brings us to the 8-week program the book details. It sounds like a structured way to actually learn these skills.
Precisely. It's a framework for engaging with these practices, learning a new way to relate to your thoughts and feelings, like learning a new mental skill set.
To make this real, the book uses some really relatable examples, like waking up super early, maybe 3 a.m.,
Oh, yeah.
and your mind is just racing, criticizing something you did or worrying about a meeting.
Or just that persistent dull ache,
Yeah.
where joy just feels absent. The book talks about people struggling to remember the last time they felt genuinely happy.
That's heavy. And then there are stories like Alice's. She goes through a breakup, seems okay at first, but then the loneliness hits hard, and she starts pulling away from friends.
Mm-hmm. That withdrawal is a common pattern. It cuts off potential support right when you need it most.
And Jim, too. Makes a career change, looks good on the surface, but he's constantly second-guessing, overthinking.
Which then manifests physically.
Yeah.
Right. He starts complaining about health issues, pulls back. It shows how varied the experience of depression can be.
Yeah, it really does. And the book lays out some statistics that are, frankly, pretty sobering.
They really put it in perspective, like around 12% of men, but 20% of women experiencing major depression. That's significant.
Huge numbers. And it often starts earlier than you might think. Mid-20s is typical for a first episode, but it can even begin in childhood or adolescence.
And think about this. At any given moment, roughly 5% of the population is currently dealing with depression.
Wow.
And it's not always short-lived. The book notes that a significant number remain depressed for a year, maybe even 2, after it starts.
And this really struck me. Each episode you have increases the risk of another one by about 16%.
That cumulative effect is really important. Plus, the fact that, 10 million people in the U.S. are on antidepressants, it just underscores the scale of the challenge.
So this brings us to a really key shift in understanding depression that the book highlights. It's not just about bad things happening to you.
Right. External events can be triggers, definitely, but negative thoughts themselves play a huge role. And crucially,
The low mood itself makes your thinking more negative.
exactly, it creates this feedback loop, this downward spiral. You don't necessarily need a big catastrophe if you're already in that vulnerable state. The low mood can start generating its own negative thoughts.
The book calls it an avalanche, right? Feelings, thoughts, physical stuff, behaviors.
Yeah, all piling on, like those unexplained aches or that heavy feeling like an iron ball, some describe, or just giving up on things that usually nourish you.
And that drive to fix it, to get rid of the bad feelings, can actually fuel the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Especially those self-critical thoughts. I'm no good. I'm a failure. The book really emphasizes how toxic and powerful they are.
They can be the end point of feeling low, but also the starting point for the next wave.
Yeah. There's a great example in the book. You see someone you know on the street, you wave, they don't respond.
True.
If you're feeling okay, you might think, oh, they didn't see me. No big deal.
Right.
But if you're already feeling down, your mind might immediately jump to, they ignored me. They don't like me. Instant sadness or anger.
It's that internal commentary again, the interpretation. And when you're low, it just defaults to negative.
Totally. The book mentions the automatic thoughts questionnaire. Things like, I hate myself, I'm worthless, my life's a mess. They feel incredibly real in the moment.
Even if they're not objectively true.
Exactly. And it's not just mental. Our bodies react physically. Tension, heart rate up, shallow breathing.
Right, the physical stress response.
And what's fascinating is how those physical sensations can then feed back to the mind, confirming the feeling of threat or upset, often without you even consciously realizing the link. Like road rage, the tight shoulders, the angry thoughts, it's all connected.
A real feedback loop. And the book points out how we often ignore body signals, right?
Right.
Especially when we're busy goal-focused.
Yeah, we push through. But then, when depression hits, those same bodily sensations might feel really unpleasant, really threatening, leading to this strong urge to push them away.
Which leads us to the core idea we're exploring, shifting from that constant struggle against the feelings.
Towards awareness and acceptance, finding freedom through a different relationship with them, not by winning a fight.
And the book is really clear. Getting caught in this cycle isn't your fault. It's a common human pattern.
But the irony is, the more you fight it, the deeper you can get stuck.
Let's talk basic emotions for a second. Happiness, sadness, fear, anger. The book mentions sadness often comes from loss.
Right. Like Carol's story. Her friend moves away, she feels sad, which is natural. But then her mind kicks in, trying to analyze why she feels so bad, trying to fix it.
And that just makes it worse. Starts a round of rumination.
Exactly. That problem-solving mode, so helpful for fixing external things, gets misapplied internally. Emotions signal something, yes, but trying to think your way out of sadness often backfires.
So you can't just fight off unpleasant thoughts and feelings.
No, the book stresses that. Aversion, trying to push them away, actually activates the brain's avoidance system. More tension, more mental preoccupation. It keeps you stuck.
The book also mentions context and memory, how places can trigger feelings.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it connects to how past experiences, especially difficult ones like feeling inadequate or abandoned perhaps in childhood, can create these thinking patterns, these grooves in the mind. Then even a slight dip in mood later in life can reactivate those old feelings, those old thoughts of, I'm not good enough.
And you might not even realize it's a memory resurfacing. You just feel bad now.
Exactly. It feels like a current reality, not an echo from the past. Which brings us to the two modes of mind the book describes. This is crucial.
Okay, 2 modes. What are they?
There's doing mode. That's the default for many of us. It's about analyzing, judging, comparing, problem solving, trying to bridge the gap between how things are and how we think they should be.
The fixer mode. Great for leaky faucets, maybe not so great for feelings.
Precisely. Then there's being mode. This is different. It's about experiencing things directly through your senses right now. It's awareness itself.
So doing mode gets us into trouble when we apply it inward.
Often, yes. It focuses on that gap. I feel bad. I should feel happy. Which leads to mental time travel, dwelling on the past, worrying about the future. Rumination. And despite the intention to solve the problem of unhappiness, it usually just magnifies it, makes you more preoccupied with it, and actually hinders real problem solving.
Okay, so being mode is the alternative.
It's presented as an alternative capacity we all have. It works through awareness, experiencing directly taste, touch, sound, and being aware that you're experiencing. It bypasses that critical thinking loop.
And that's where mindfulness fits in.
Exactly. Mindfulness, as the book defines it, is paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally, to things as they are.
It's the opposite of rumination.
It really is.
Yeah.
There's a lovely image in the book, a writer eating blowfish. Potentially dangerous, right?
Definitely.
But the writer is fully present, savoring the taste, the texture, not lost in fear, just being with the experience. That's mindfulness.
Paying attention on purpose, present moment, non-judgmentally. A shift from doing to being.
You got it. And to get a taste of this, the book suggests that raisin exercise.
The mindful raisin sounds a bit odd.
It can sound odd, but by slowing way down and exploring a single raisin with all your senses looking, touching, smelling, placing it, really tasting, even noticing swallowing, you tap into this richness of experience we usually miss.
People are often surprised by it.
Very. The book shares anecdotes, people noticing textures, complex flavors they never knew a raisin had because they were actually paying attention.
Which highlights a key point the book makes. Thoughts are just mental events.
Yes. Interpretations, judgments, not necessarily reality. Like an imaginary chair versus a real one. Your thoughts about your self-worth. They're mental events, not concrete facts.
So mindfulness helps you see them that way, as passing events.
Exactly. Like clouds in the sky or sounds passing by. They arise, they linger, they go. Seeing them like that loosens their grip. They don't have to define you or dictate your mood.
But it's so easy to get caught up in them, isn't it? Caught in the daily rush, on autopilot.
Oh, constantly. Mindless eating, driving the usual way when you meant to go elsewhere, forgetting why you walked into a room.
Or finishing your coffee and having no memory of drinking it. Your mind was already 5 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm. Life can slip by, moment by moment, when we're not present.
So doing mode is always focused on closing that gap, future-oriented. Being mode isn't.
Right. Being mode accepts the present. Like Thich Nhat Hanh said, peace is here and now, not after you finish the next thing.
But does letting go of that constant evaluation mean you just drift aimlessly?
Not at all. You can still act, still have intentions, but the motivation shifts. It comes from awareness, not compulsion.
Less focus on what's wrong, maybe more connection.
That's the idea. A greater sense of harmony, potentially?
It challenges that common belief that achieving goals is happiness. Maybe not clinging to goals, especially the goal of fixing yourself, is the way out.
That's a central theme. So after the raisin, the book encourages bringing that same intentional awareness to everyday things.
Like washing dishes or brushing your teeth.
Exactly. The point is to practice this way of being so it's available when you really need it, when difficult feelings arise.
Like Jenna's Thanksgiving story, taking things as they came instead of worrying.
Yes. She consciously chose presence over worry, and it helps manage her stress. It interrupted the automatic negative thought patterns that thrive when we're on autopilot.
Recognizing autopilot is the first step.
Crucial. Towards a more spacious, compassionate awareness. The book calls it the fresh air of awareness.
I like that, like opening a window in a stuffy room.
Mm-hmm. Just letting some awareness in disrupts the momentum of doing. It's not about huge effort, just small shifts in attention. Like airing out dry rot, awareness prevents those negative states from festering.
So mindfulness breaks the rumination chain by changing attention, but it takes practice.
Definitely. Which leads to the need for steadying the mind, because our minds naturally wander, right?
All the time. Forget why you entered a room, how one thought led to another.
Yeah. And the book mentions that Zen story the novice, trying not to think for a day.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Right. And research shows trying to suppress negative thoughts actually makes depression worse.
It backfires. So instead of suppression, the practice is intentional focus. Focusing and refocusing on one thing, like the breath.
How does that help steady the mind?
It seems to activate specific brain networks involved in attention regulation. The book gives simple instructions. Sit comfortably, tune into breath sensations, notice wandering without judgment, gently return. Maybe start with 10 minutes.
And people find this helpful, like Vince doing it at lunch.
Yeah, he felt less stressed, and even his boss noticed. It shows this practice can offer a way to settle the mind. And it taps into this calm that's actually always there. We just get in our own way.
But it's important not to make getting calm the goal, right? That's back to doing mode.
Exactly. Paula's story of feeling restless and irritated during meditation highlights that. If you expect calm and don't get it, you get frustrated.
So mind wandering is normal, part of the process.
Absolutely normal. It's an opportunity. Recognizing you've wandered is awareness returning. You just gently guide attention back. Each time is a fresh start.
Each breath is a chance to begin again.
Mm-hmm. And focusing on one breath teaches you to take things one moment at a time. It counters that overwhelming pile of logs feeling.
Looking at the whole huge task versus just the next step.
Right. We exhaust ourselves worrying about the whole pile. Tuning into the present moment frees up energy for what's right here.
The book also mentions mindful walking.
Yes, another great practice. Historically used alongside breath meditation. Think Tai Chi, yoga moving meditation. And we know walking can clear the head.
How do you do it mindfully?
Focus on the sensations in your feet. Slow down. Feel the contact with the ground, the muscles working. Maybe notice your breath too.
Good for when you feel restless.
Very helpful then. The physical sensations can be more grounding than sitting. It's meditation in motion, being mindful with each step, not focused on getting somewhere.
Like that mother taking a few mindful breaths in the car before picking up the kids, just slowing down.
Those few seconds can make a huge difference. It's about the intention. Not mind control, but observing patterns with curiosity and acceptance without striving.
And the body is key to emotions.
Absolutely. Joy feels like something physical. Sadness, anger, use physical metaphors.
Yeah.
Depression often involves that heavy, achy feeling.
And that physical feeling can trigger negative thoughts, which makes you want to push the feeling away. Another cycle.
Right. But with mindfulness, you learn to just be with the sensation. Notice it without judgment, without needing it to vanish. It shifts your relationship to it.
From powerlessness to presence.
hmm And the book talks about awareness itself being like a bigger container, like the sky holding the clouds. Resting in awareness offers shelter.
But doing mode obscures that being mode quality, hence the need for practice.
Exactly. We need practice to reconnect with direct sensory experience, like the exercise focusing on your hands.
Feeling them directly versus thinking about them.
Yes. Nancy's experience, first thinking about her hands, memories, then shifting to just feeling the tingling, warmth, not even hand-shaped sensations necessarily. It quieted the chatter.
So direct bodily experience is a different way of knowing. Immediate, non-conceptual.
Compared to the indirect conceptual nature of thought, yes, which leads to the body scan meditation.
Systematically bringing awareness to different body parts.
Yes, fostering that shift from thinking about the body to sensing it directly. Yan initially found it very calming, felt like floating.
And it emphasizes non-striving.
Crucially, just being awake, aware, no goal. That itself can bring peace. But again, don't make relaxation the goal.
Because that's doing mode again. Expectation, disappointment.
Right. Yan recognized that later. Numbness, unpleasantness might arise. Just notice it non-judgmentally. Mind wandering is normal, just return.
It's like the mind brings up unfinished business.
It does. Which can be useful, but in rumination, it's overactive. This leads to the idea of the internal barometer.
Sensing subtle body signals of emotion before they get overwhelming.
Yes, John's story. Unaware of his body's tension after that truck incident, then overreacting to a bank letter later.
Because tuning out feelings doesn't make them go away. They influence us unconsciously.
Exactly. So the book suggests mindful movement too, like a standing exercise. Awareness of feet, slow arm movements with breath, stretching, noticing sensations.
But what if unpleasant feelings come up during practice?
The advice is to gently turn toward them with awareness. Expand openness, goodwill. This weakens the avoidance habit.
Like Mary with that difficult yoga pose. From torture to curious.
Yes. And later, feeling sadness, she consciously tuned into the body sensations, found space around them, allowed tears without fighting. Acceptance.
So practice noticing pleasant, unpleasant moments in daily life. And the body sensation.
Even small things. The R.S. Thomas quote about the burning bush, seeing the profound in the ordinary through attention, it's always available, just overlooked.
It seems counterintuitive, turning towards difficulty.
It does. The brain's threat system screams distract.
Yeah.
But mindfulness encourages acknowledging, allowing.
The book talks about working the edge.
Yeah, with intense sensations. Bring awareness gently towards the intensity, back off with compassion if needed, return when ready, like dipping a toe in water.
Finding new ways to relate, even to discomfort.
Like Anthony with the itching, staying with it, breathing with it, compassion. Not trying to obliterate it, but bathing it in awareness.
So there's a practice for welcoming unpleasant feelings, saying, it's okay, it's already here.
Yes, acknowledging it, then focusing on body sensations with breath, softening, opening.
But Amanda found her mind immediately jumped to rumination, blaming herself.
A common hurdle. It takes practice to stay with body sensations when the mind wants to analyze or judge. But the goal isn't no feelings, it's relating differently, finding spaciousness.
Like Meg with the angry email, instead of reacting.
She noticed the physical anger, felt it fully as changing sensations, and it subsided, allowed a constructive response.
Thoughts self-liberating in awareness.
That's a fascinating concept. By bringing kind awareness to difficult emotions in the body, you allow them to process naturally instead of freezing them with aversion.
It's not stoicism, it's awareness with curiosity and compassion.
Exactly. Leading to radical acceptance, welcoming all experiences. Like Rumi's guest house poem, treat every emotion as a visitor.
Because observing the changing nature of thoughts, feelings, sensations allows things to unfold differently.
Yes, there's wisdom in just being with difficulty. Suspending judgment changes perception. Emotions shift. Like the child waiting at school mood totally colors perspective.
And rumination just keeps you stuck in one negative perspective.
Whereas mindfulness lets you relate to thoughts differently. Let them be without analyzing. See them as mind constructions, not necessarily reality, not me.
Realizing thoughts aren't facts takes away their power, stops the worry cycles.
Hugely. The book suggests hearing your thoughts. Like your mind is an ear for thoughts, just as your physical ear hears sounds, seeing them as discrete events.
Like a siren passing. It's a sound, not you. A thought is a thought, not you.
Even self-criticism during meditation is just more thinking. more mental events to observe.
So those automatic negative thoughts, I'm worthless, etc., see them as patterns of low mood, not truths.
Yes. Someone in the book described how they believed them 120% when depressed, but later saw them as faint echoes. Informative about depression's patterns, but not about reality.
So not identifying with them is key, seeing them as passing events.
That's the freedom. Jade realized analyzing scary thoughts made them worse. Mindfulness offered freedom by letting go of identifying with them.
Per Brack's quote, recognize fear thoughts, connect with body feelings.
A powerful pointer. It's not about ignoring painful thoughts, but seeing them clearly with awareness. That's the gift of the practice.
Then there's choiceless awareness, just sitting.
A further practice. Not easy, but can become compelling. Just being awareness itself. Start with breath focus, then expand awareness to body, sounds, thoughts, feelings, holding it all lightly.
And the 3-minute breathing space, a portable tool.
Incredibly useful. 3 steps. 1, aware of thoughts, feelings, body. Focus on breath. Through 3, expand awareness to whole body. Practice formally. Use it anytime, anywhere.
It's more than a timeout, it's a mode shift.
With practice, yes, from doing to being. The hourglass analogy highlights step 1, awareness and acknowledgement. That's key.
Why is acknowledging so important?
It disengages doing mode, drops you into being, just noticing thoughts, feelings, body sensations, parsing the experience.
Like Matthew trying to mindfully iron while resentful. Didn't work until he acknowledged the resentment first.
Exactly. Wholeheartedly acknowledging what's already present might be all that's needed, like accepting the rain.
That insight someone had, it will never get better, was just a thought. Now they can stick around and see what's actually going on.
Powerful shift. Or Tara noticing the ebb and flow of anxiety sensations, realizing they were always there, but she hadn't been aware.
And Hona's struggle to practice when hectic, but realizing that feeling is the cue to practice, even afterwards.
Interrupting the potential rumination. Even waking up feeling awful, taking a breathing space might not make the feeling vanish, but makes it less catastrophic. A crucial shift.
Small shifts, open possibilities. Tackling one task, ending a call feeling annoyed but not demeaned.
Yes. Once you notice the physical feelings, you have options. Breathe with them, hold them in awareness, work the edge.
Michelle feeling drained about the family reunion. Breathing space revealed the physical tension linked to feelings about her father's partner.
Right. Recognizing her aversion allowed her to approach it differently, not just force herself. Motivation matters, avoidance backfires, self-care works.
And depression makes self-care hard. Less pleasure, less energy.
Exactly. It robs energy for nourishing things. Self-care becomes about re-engaging despite low motivation.
Asking what would a friend need? What small, kind step can I take?
Compassionate self-talk helps too. Be kind. This is hard. Doing my best. When overwhelmed, remember mindfulness is self-care. Focus on breath. Do one small thing.
Like avoiding Toad's rigid to-do list approach from Frog and Toad.
Yes. A perfect example of getting stuck in doing mode. Peter realized his driven to-do list thoughts were just thoughts, giving him the choice to stop.
So cultivating mindfulness daily helps you see doing versus being and the possibility of shifting.
That's the core. Peggy reorienting from feared futures to present reality, approaching worries with kindness. David realizing he could change his experience by changing attention.
Prioritizing mindful breathing on waking.
Though he struggled at work initially, felt pressure, postponed mindfulness, felt something was off.
Until he really engaged with step 1 of the breathing space at work.
Yes. That revealed his craving for things to be different and the unhappiness the craving caused. Insight led to compassion, letting go.
Wow. So the wisdom from mindfulness shows us the suffering caused by unawareness.
And allows us to treasure the peace available right now if we cultivate awareness, to be fully alive. Ending with Mary Oliver's Love After Love, welcoming ourselves back.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, key takeaways are understanding depression cycles, the limits of just doing or fixing.
And the real potential of mindfulness, of being mode, through practices like breath awareness, body scan, mindful movement, and that very practical 3-minute breathing space.
And it's a practice, right? Like learning to swim. Takes ongoing engagement.
Absolutely. Start small, be patient. The book suggests that 8-week structure for a deeper dive when you're ready.
Taking time for it is really an act of wisdom, of self-compassion, connecting with the present.
And when the mind wanders, which it will,
meet it with kindness. Gently return.
You can start informally, too. Mindful dishwashing. Noticing pleasant, unpleasant moments and body sensations. It all counts.
So maybe take a moment to reflect on your own patterns with mood. Could a shift towards mindful awareness offer something new?
And a final thought to ponder. What might happen if you consistently brought a kind, non-judgmental awareness to your experience, moment by moment? How could that fundamentally shift your relationship with both the good times and the difficult ones?